Good evening, everybody. We have a new challenge today playing against Victor 1959. I presume from Russia. So, we have the Caro-Kann defense today. So, I've played so many lines against the Caro-Kann over the years because this is quite a solid opening that it's kind of difficult to crack. Okay, let's go for the main lines. The main line. Let's see what he got. Oh, d6. This is I've definitely not anticipated. I thought he's going to play his pawn to d5. So now we are transposing into, I would say, some kind of Pirc defense, but a one which is quite passive for black in my opinion. So against such kind of let's say not too aggressive or not too principled opening play, what I like to do is just to play the most aggressive moves that I can, because generally this is in my opinion the best way to punish such opening play by the opponent. So you see, I've just seized as much space as I could, and I'm planning perhaps to play h3 on the next move to force him either to capture my knight, and then I will get the two bishops advantage, or he will have to retreat to some passive square. So I'm really not too impressed by his opening play. Now he placed his bishop on d7, which is quite a lousy square for the bishop, kind of self-blocking his knight from coming to d7. Now I have some pleasant choice. I can advance in the center with e5, trying to shut down this bishop rather on g7. And I can also just develop some piece, maybe bishop c4. Definitely a pleasant choice. I think e5 is quite principled. Now it's also kind of nice that it's coming with the tempo on his knight. Yeah, he played 95. Now I want just to take. And my aim is quite simple. I just want to play this type of position with this pawn structure against his bishop on g7, which should be quite unpleasant for him. Let's just develop bishop d3. So basically what we've got here is a position in which black is arguably quite solid. It's not like white is immediately having a huge attack or anything, but at the same time black is quite cramped. I think both of his bishops are quite bad, especially the one on g7. Now I've played a5 trying to grab some space on the queen side, but I think it's more of a weakening, because in this situation he weakened his b5 square, which I might use later on, but I did not weaken my b4 square because my pawn is protecting it. So he castled. I think it's good time for me also to castle. I think white is just enjoying quite a pleasant position out of the opening. Black is quite cramped. He has not too much space for his pieces, and I really find it quite hard or difficult for him to find a plan. So he took my pawn on e5 to undouble his pawns, but this move also have a drawback. Now I've got my f file open for my rook, which could be quite significant later on in the game. Also, this diagonal for the bishop is open, so I might think about ideas of queen d2 followed by bishop h6, so getting some exchanging his main defender of his king's position. So definitely white is for choice here. In my opinion, black really needs to come out with some kind of counterplay here, otherwise it will be crushed quite easily. Also, I think it's quite easy for white to play. This is one of the reasons that finally I have more time than my opponent, usually in those 10+5 or 10+0 games that I play. I tend to think quite a lot because my opponent plays some dubious opening moves and I try to kind of punish it. But here, yeah, it was quite easy to play my moves. Now he's placing his king in front of my bishop on d3. This shouldn't be too good for him. Now I like this move, knight h2. So this is a bit of a prophylactic move because I didn't want him to exchange the bishops with the move bishop f5. So now with the move knight h2 I'm opening the line for my rook. And on the next moves, perhaps I'm planning to double my rook, something like rook f3 or rook f2, followed by rook f1. And well, when I will, when my rook on a1 would join the game, it would be practically the last piece of white which is developed, and then I will already start thinking about how to attack him exactly. So now I really want to bring my rook into the game, and actually now I've noticed that I can actually play rook to f4, which is a very annoying move for him, because I'm not only preparing to bring my other rook into the game, I'm also having this idea of rook h4 to attack his pawn on h6, so forcing some weakening for him. Now I play this pawn to f5. Now I have a very pleasant choice. Basically I can just play rook f4, and I believe it should be very good for me. But also I very much I want to take on f6 to reopen this diagonal for the bishop. Everything looks so tempting and tasty. It's kind of difficult to choose. It's really a question of whether I want to go for some direct attack or do I want to go for some slow positional squeeze. I don't know why, but somehow I like this move rook h4 better. I will check after the game whether I was right doing so. But the thing is that this pawn on e5 is really limiting his movements, especially this bishop on g7 is now very bad. And now he played h5, he was kind of forced to do so. Now I could either play g4, breaking through immediately, or I could also maneuver my knight on this nice g5 square. I think I will seize the chance to open the position with g4. Of course it's slightly weakening my own king position, but I have such a domination in the position that I really don't care too much about slightly weakening my king position. I think now it's really all about attacking his king and opening up the lines against him. So I practically don't have a huge threat here. I simply want to take on h5, force him to recapture with his pawn, and to create him a weakness on h5. Yeah, so he took with the pawn, so as now my bishop is reopened. And I want just to take it. Now my attack should be very strong with this bishop aiming straight into his king. Interesting. How can black actually defend from this threat? Probably needs to move his king somewhere on g8 maybe. But I feel like it's really kind of a temporary defense for him. Yeah, he played it. Yeah, let's open the G file. So yeah, his position is quite bad here. Probably just lost. My attack is quite overwhelming by this point. So I really want to involve also my last piece in the attack. So I think I will just play my king to h1 with the idea to prepare my rook to g1 and attacking on the g file. Looks easy enough. Black is holding for the moment, but it's not quite enough to hold for long. His pieces are quite clumsy. He cannot get anything done. His knight is too far away from the defense. Maybe I should exchange some pieces with the move bishop f5. For sure black would be very happy to exchange some pieces, kind of releasing some of the tension and making my attack slightly less promising. So if I were him, I would definitely play bishop f5 here, but I don't think it changes that much. So he's getting quite low on time, but I can kind of understand him. His position is quite unpleasant, so it's difficult to make choices. So he played his bishop on f5 eventually. Let's see if it helps him. My threat here is probably to play bishop h6 at some point, maybe even now. Let's play bishop h6, using this spin on the king. Now the only way that I see to protect this, yeah, it's with the rook f7. But now I can just take his bishop. Now let me bring my queen also into the attack. Let's play king g2. So really all of my pieces now are getting on battle positions. The end is near for black. Yeah, after queen f8 I wanted just to take the pawn on h5. Now I'm threatening my rook to g5, so bringing more pieces to the attack. He played his knight to e7, but how exactly this prevents my rook g5 move, I'm not entirely sure. I think by this point my opponent really have nothing to do, even in order to have slight chances of survival. It should be quite easy from now on. also very likely that he will resign quite soon. I think now would be a good time to resign for him. Okay, he wants to play on and to get checkmated. He is actually most welcome. I never had problem to deliver checkmates. And now it's checkmate in 2 moves. Do I have a faster checkmate? Probably not. Let's just play this move. Yeah, so this game was fairly easy. I feel like my opponent played very passively, straight out of the opening, and generally all of his strategy was quite dubious in the opening. So I think already after 10 moves or so, I already had a very good position. Wondering if e5 was the strongest. a5 was a decent move, perhaps not the best. The computer likes more. Okay, a3 I don't understand at all. But a move like queen d2 I can definitely understand. Perhaps preparing long castle, in contrast to the game where I castled short. Yeah, at this point, yeah, black's position is quite unpleasant. He took on e5, and I think it made my job of attacking him quite a bit easier. But even if he plays good moves, I think I have quite a good attacking chances with moves like queen e1, queen h4, maybe knight g5 in the future. So my attack is very much alive here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game. It was quite fun. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.